today is day one of a much bigger project. I'm actually working on how to build skate parks with Kent and Russell. We're going to be doing a whole series, probably multiple videos on just instructional how to get a skate park made in your local city, so stick around for that. But today is day one. We're checking out Escondido skate park, a skate park that Kenton has been working on the last couple of months. They're opening it soon. You hear some of the Sk8 Mafia guys to warm up, kind of break in the skate park and check it out. Kenton did do a lot of the design work on this skate park, and a lot of the design work is actually the heavy grilling process. Like I said, we're going to make a more in-depth video of how to build skate parks. Stick around for that. But this project in specific has been a big task of Kenton. We're going to talk to him, talk about some of the specifics of building this project. Some of this area still isn't finished. Going to have to probably put in some grass, things like that, but fully still skate park.
Kind of interesting how critical these signs are. Every city asks me, what should we put on the sign? What should we make sure is allowed? What is not allowed? And it's really about the more vague, the better. Because if you're trying to restrict too much, then you're actually going to cause liability issues. It's better just to let the community police themselves. As long as you're not allowing motorized, vehicles up in here, you're pretty good. But skate at your own risk, ride at your own risk, that's the key thing. And everything else is gonna work itself out. It is basically just putting you on notice that now you're entering a rideable area, like a skate spot. So here's what you can expect. So it's not like you have to sign off on a waiver or anything like that. It's really just being aware that these are sort of the expected dangers that could happen coming in here. So if you're a mom in a stroller, you might want to be careful when you're coming in here because it's a space dedicated toward this kind of activity. It's not like you're going into a playground, you're not going to a baseball field, but it's like here are the inherent activities are going to happen in this kind of a space, so just be aware. So we're just entering in the skate spot. We're calling it a skate spot because this is about 7,000 square feet, so it's kind of a small skate park. Skate spot just sounds kind of cool. It kind of helps limit expectations. There's not going to be any big bowls or full pipes up in here. But we wanted to make everything feel really inviting so the community will support it. We know the skaters are pushing for it, but the community sometimes doesn't really get behind it. They don't understand what this looks like. So if we can keep things looking architectural and kind of cool like this, it really helps to get the ball rolling. It gets projects funded. And having these stairs kind of bleed into the landscaping like this is all going to be turf and sod later. But it kind of looked like the shape of the E for Escondido also. So that geometry and kind of cool architectural stuff and colors helps to make it stand out. And all of a sudden, you know you're in Escondido because this looks different. And everyone's going to interpret it differently, but that's just something you can do to kind of make these skate spots look different. You know, the hubba ledges might be similar to other hubba ledges, but sometimes the color and the way you make it look is what makes it cool and different. And then colored banks, making sure you got the right angles, making sure you got the right jointing and construction. These are all really critical elements of a skate park or a skate spot, and making sure that lip is really crisp for nice takeoffs. And same thing with the C channel. You know, making sure that it's going to hold up to the abuse when people are bailing their boards and kicking it away. You know, you don't want people to bust up the stairs and the city doesn't want to come back and fix it. So you got a nice starting point, elevated area to kind of come down into the park. You know, kind of see Alex probably take a little shot at this real quick. Maybe he might make it. Not that time. And you know, we're standing on a slappy curb, which is somewhat maybe considered a simple skate obstacle. Yeah, but it's so fun. So it's like, let's just make sure that what we're putting in here is actually fun. Yeah. So having this is just something you can hit on the way to and from different parts of the park is cool. And we put the same thing on top of the bank, so you can do like a slappy to the curb on the bank. And it's really just creating this center island to create sort of lanes and a flow around it or over it or across it. But it helps when you have 5 people here, you can kind of skate the park however you want to. But if you have 40 people here, you might really need these lanes so people can see each other coming and going, and you can have people riding at the same time, which is really important in a skate park. We don't want to put something in a park that's only going to allow like everyone waiting their turn, so you have this bottlenecking of staging and queuing of people trying to ride the park. Because, you know, let's face it, when you go to a skate park, you just want to ride. You don't want to wait your turn. You just want to get in and get into something. And that's really what's cool about these whole spots is you can have people coming, skating, filming their lines. I mean, skateboarding is very social. So if you can have things happening all at the same time, different areas of activities, that's the goal, 100%.
How long did this particular design take? Like, what was that process like? We won't go to the process right now, but how long did that take specifically for this project?
I mean, this process was definitely at least a year in design. And then it was probably about maybe 3 to 4 months during construction. And overseeing the construction is just as important as the design, because we can make everything look really good on paper, 3D renderings, whatever it is, visuals, but you got to make sure it's actually built the right way. So making sure that everyone understands what's in the blueprints and following those blueprints is critical. Because if you misinterpret a dimension, like a height on a flat bar, as we all know, if that thing was 2 inches too high, it's just not going to skate the same. If that ledge is too low, it's going to be more of a manual pad, right? So same thing with handrails and hubba ledges, or even these quarter pipes and banks. If the angle and the radius of these transitions are too tight, it almost becomes unskateable. If it's too mellow, it's going to feel like a bank and it's going to fly you right over the whole top of that thing. So you want to keep people in where you want to keep them in and keep the flow going, but you also want to create banks and angles that keep people going over it if that's what you really want to do, if that's what your intention is.